Hello, wrestling fans. We are back for another edition of WWPWW, the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling. And today's a special day because it is Jeremy's birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing our show last time, and it's because it'd been quite a while, like 11 months since we've done a show because life happens and all kinds of craziness. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing the WrestleMania special, and so we thought we would come back for another show this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll be kind of, if we could do that where it's like, come back for special episodes or something like that instead of doing it as a regular thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be more accommodating to our schedules.
Sure.
So something like that. But yeah, so before we get to the main part of the show, is there any kind of news or anything you'd like to discuss or kind of throw out there, or just?
I can't think of anything. I haven't watched Raw yet, but I know their opinions of Raw are some people thought it was one of the worst Raws ever last night. I haven't seen it. I think it's unique. It was different from what I understand, but I don't know about that. The next takeover is going to be the 25th takeover, and so they finally figured out where they're going to have it, and can't remember where, but I think it's supposed to be. Actually, I can't remember where, but it's the 25th takeover. I'm excited for that. Other than that, I haven't been on Twitter today, so I don't know if there's any other news. I know there's huge stuff going on with AEW and New Japan, and some of those promotions that they're getting ready to do their tournaments and getting ready to start. AEW is getting ready to start and whatnot. But other than that,
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
A big thing I heard was Jericho's going to challenge for Okada for the IWGP title at I think Dominion, which is always June 6th, or June 9th or something. I think June 9th. So like I'll be really looking forward to that. I'll be really trying to find that. Hopefully, I can see it the next day on YouTube before it gets deleted.
Yep.
So yeah, like that's about the only thing I can think of that's the biggest thing I've heard here recently, which I'm really excited about that. I love how Jericho's kind of not really reinvented himself, but just
evolved.
Yeah, I guess evolved is a good way. Outside of WWE, what he's done there, kind of different, not necessarily a different persona, but just like different version of the same persona or something. I can't really describe it, but yeah, it's cool to see the sort of over the past like year and a half what he's been doing on the indie scene has been really awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
So, all right, want to jump into the main part, I guess.
Sure.
Cool. All right. So, we are going to be doing something that's really fun. We are going to be booking our very own fantasy wrestling territories. This is an idea I had quite a while ago, and I just talked to Jeremy about it after our last show, and he thought it sounded like a bit good of fun. So we will be doing our very own wrestling promotion. So have a list of criteria here, and the name of the promotion, where it's, where it's located, the name of your TV show, the championship names, and then wrestlers and wrestling personalities from any era. So if you want The Rock from 2000 and you want, Macho Man from 1987, bring him in, so basically, yeah, anything goes kind of basically. And I think this will be a great deal of fun, and looking forward to this. So yeah, lots of fun stuff that we can kind of pull from, and fantasy, wrestling promotion. How would you book it and everything like that? So I think this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so how you want to do this? You want to just back and forth with each thing, or?
Yeah, we can explain why we decided to name it, or we just explain our list, go in depth when we want to, not in depth when we don't.
All right, cool. All right, well, I will let you go first, good sir. So.
All right, well, every good promotion needs a name, and I had a hard time coming up with one because a lot of names have been taken. Thought about, EC Dub. I mean, everybody loves chanting EC Dub, EC Dub, and Extreme Championship Wrestling is it's a great name. You can't have WWE because you'll get sued. So even on fake fake promotion, probably shouldn't put that down. And so I was kind of coming at it as what would be nice to chant. And at first I was like, you know what? I don't need anything that means anything. I mean, look at NXT. It doesn't really mean anything per se. I mean, obviously it's next, but it doesn't. The initials don't really mean anything. And so I was like, you know what? First I'll put down BC Dub, BCW, BCW. I thought that was pretty good. And then I was like, no, I came up with a name. And so the name of my promotion is the Unhinged Championship Wrestling, UC Dub, UC Dub, UC Dub. So it's close. It's easy to pronounce. It's nice. It's a different word we haven't used. I don't think outside of like Dean Ambrose and those kind of personas, we don't really hear the word unhinged too often in wrestling, but it is there. And so I just thought Unhinged Championship Wrestling. It's similar to Extreme, but different. So, yep, that is the name of my promotion.
Okay.
What is your name?
All right. So you want something? I don't know why, but like World Class Championship Wrestling. I don't know why, but the four initials is cool to me. And also Grand Prix. I don't know why I love that phrase, Grand Prix. I do. It just always, it makes it seem like a big sporting event. You know what I mean? Like, the Formula One Grand Prix, the, Moto Grand Prix, the motorcycle race. I don't know what it is. Like, I just love the phrase Grand Prix. So I thought, okay. So I mixed them together. So World Grand Prix Wrestling is my thing. I don't know why. I just always love the term Grand Prix and like the whole World Class Championship Wrestling, WCCW. For some reason, I liked that, the Von Erich territory. So I kind of mix them together into the World Grand Prix Wrestling. And you want something that can roll off the tongue. All Elite Wrestling rolls off the tongue nicely. WWE, just you don't have to say World, Wrestling Entertainment. You can just say WWE, rolls right off the tongue. And so, and your thing, rolls right off the tongue. And so, like, I wanted something kind of like that you could just kind of have, because like I thought of some kind of cool names, but like they didn't roll off the tongue that well. And then I thought, oh wait, yeah, Grand Prix. I love Grand Prix. I need to put Grand Prix in the name. So
Yeah, and that's like number one thing you want in branding. Something people will remember, something that's unique, something that's like you said, easy to chant and whatnot. That's really good. I like that. I never would have thought putting Grand Prix into a wrestling name, but that is like it's world. Like that's a world title. Like that's a world. That's something you can go across the world, and your brand will be known by that title. It's a title that it's a good title. I like it a lot.
Well, thank you.
So
All right.
where are you based? Where is this World Grand Prix Wrestling? Where is it based?
I thought about basing it out of somewhere really cool and fun, like Sydney, Australia. I almost picked Sydney, Australia, but then I thought about, I was like, I love Nashville, and so I'm gonna base it out of Nashville, sort of, the heartland of America, kind of go branch out from there or whatever, I don't know, and like, yeah, so I just I chose Nashville. I love Nashville. It's a good city, good central location, stuff like that, but. So I guess secondary headquarters would be in Sydney, Australia. But
that's your world. That's where you're gonna plot everything for the world domination.
Yeah,
Sydney.
Yeah. That's gonna be our big, like WWE's in Saudi Arabia to do all that big money. Like, we'll go to Australia to do our big money shows.
That's good. Wrestling is growing there in leaps and bounds. It's a great place to put a headquarters, a world headquarters. That's a great place. And my thoughts were similar. I didn't think about Nashville. That's a really good place to go because you get all the southern states who would want to come to Nashville to come there. And that's pretty good. It's a good central place. I believe that this place needs wrestling to come back in a major way. I think St. Louis. St. Louis needs that style of wrestling to come back. You don't hear a whole lot of. I mean, you hear WWE coming into St. Louis, and they do really well, relatively well there. And I just feel like like you said about the Heartland needs, at least in our area, needs that wrestling to come back so that we can embrace the legacy that St. Louis has had in wrestling. I mean, Chicago wrestling's huge, but St. Louis, I mean, they came out, they brought out Randy Orton. They bring out some other people that I can't name off the top of my head right now, but I just feel like wrestling needs to return to St. Louis. So we have the headquarters, we have our names. What kind of style do you think would be best for yours?
For me, I kind of wanted like the style of wrestling to kind of be like modern WWE mixed with like Southern wrestling mixed with like modern New Japan. So kind of an amalgamation of like those kind of three styles in terms of like production and in-ring work and stuff like that.
Yeah, mine's same. Mine's pretty much the same. I had all because I'm thinking cruiserweights. I'm thinking tag team. I'm thinking all of these different kinds. But I think most of my wrestlers are what you said, that East meets West kind of style, which would be awesome. If, wrestling right now is kind of like rap in the '90s. They hate each other. They want to kill each other. They want to destroy each other's brands. Stop doing that. And I think New Japan is trying to be more global in that aspect. Coming here, having the championships they do for the states. But I think we just need to stop, embrace each other, and mesh those styles. So I would totally agree with
you. Yeah, totally. And let's see. So now, what is the name of your weekly television show where you will feature your wrestling to the world?
All right. Well, I have 3 TV shows.
Nice.
2 TV shows and 1 show airing on YouTube for free, because I think YouTube is, or at least the internet is the future of television. Obviously, we're in that future now. We have streaming services and stuff. And so, how would I want to stream my product? YouTube is the best way, in my opinion, right now to do that. Anyway, so I have 3 shows: 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Saturday. Tuesday is called just Tuesday Unhinged. It's the main program. It's the show that we're going to highlight all of the main workers, the top talent. They're going to be on there. And then Thursdays on YouTube is going to be called Assaulted.
Nice.
I think that's going to be where more of the hardcore matches, the kind of the fan service wrestling matches will happen, kind of like NXT is basically, to say, hey fans, we love wrestling. We love that you love wrestling. Here is our product for free. Here are some of the best talent we have in the ring. So here you go. That'll probably just be an hour. Tuesday Unhinged will probably just be 2 hours. I'm not doing a 3-hour show. We can have 5 hours of show on TV or other places. And then my Saturday show is Saturday Night Awakening. I just thought it was a good name, in my opinion. And that's going to be, kind of highlights, but also we will tape house shows, and so we'll probably do like the old what WWE used to do when they would go to the Madison Square Garden. They would tape their show and they would have it on their other shows, and so that's pretty much what that show is going to be. So Tuesday Unhinged, Thursday Assaulted, and Saturday Night Awakening. Those are my TV names. What about
you? So I just have one show, Friday Night Grand Prix. Just couldn't think of something super clever, so I was just like, Friday Night Grand Prix. Like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like the idea of having like a big Friday night show. It's like there's usually not a lot of shows on Friday night, and so that's when I would have mine on, and so Friday Night Grand Prix coming to you Friday nights on CBS. I mean, because Hawaii Five-0 is on at 7, and then at 8 there's nothing on. Like it's just it's just news and crap. So it's just like, all right, well, that 8 o'clock time slot, get a 2-hour wrestling show in there after Hawaii Five-0.
Very nice.
Okay, so now the names of the championships. So we have a men's championship, a women's championship, and then a tag team championship for the men and women both. So, Jeremy, go ahead and give us your 4 championship names for your promotion.
Well, I actually have multiple for each.
Ooh, pardon me.
Except for the regular women's. Okay, so I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 men's, quote unquote, men's titles. The main title that they would be all vying for is the Unhinged Men's Heavyweight Championship,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, just self-evident. And so that's going to be the main title, the one that the top people are going to, top wrestlers are going to, male wrestlers are going to fight for. And then I want a hardcore title. I'm a huge fan of the hardcore title, no matter where it is, whether it be ECW or WCW or WWE or wherever. I'm a huge fan of the hardcore title, but it's not going to be relegated just to men. It's anybody can win it. Even if a tag team wants to go in on it, they can fight for it too. So kind of just a weird free for all title that is for entertainment, pure entertainment. I'm thoroughly entertained. I was thoroughly entertained by the hardcore title in WWE when it was Falls Count Anywhere. You can challenge it any time. I know like Bruce hated it, but I don't care. I loved it. I loved that spontaneity. And so the hardcore title it can be won by anybody. Then I have kind of like the mid card title, Mr. Heartland. I thought that would be
Nice.
pretty cool. And then I want a cruiserweight title. Not necessarily to relegate all of the smaller guys to that title, but I want those who, and maybe I could even do a rookie title, but I want those who are the smaller guys to actually want to fight for something, who don't think that they can take on a heavyweight guy, and so I want something that they can vie for. So my women's title is just Unhinged Ladies Championship.
Okay.
I don't want to do women's. I just want ladies class back to women's wrestling. The tag team titles, I have two sets. I have the Unhinged Men's Tag Team, just self-evident, and then I want a tag team that's a 3-man tag team title, but I'm calling it the Freebird title.
Nice.
Because Freebirds, and so, but anyone can win this. It could be a mixed tag team. It could be 2 guys, 1 girl. It could be 3 girls. It could be 1 girl or two girls, 1 guy. Like anybody, any form of 3 can win this title. And so I really like the 3-man title concept. So that's my tag team men's. My tag team women's, obviously the Unhinged women's tag team, and then oh shoot, I missed that. Another women's title would be the Miss Heartland, like the Mr. Heartland, kind of the mid card type title. So I put that in the wrong place. So those are my titles.
Okay.
Those are my championships. What about you?
So I have the big main event men's championship was the World Grand Prix Heavyweight Championship. And so yeah, I basically just took World Heavyweight Championship from like WCW and then just put Grand Prix in the middle there. So and then for the women's championship, I had Grand Prix Women's Championship. And for the men's tag team, I just put WGPW Tag Team Championships because there's already enough words in there. So I'll put the abbreviation in there. And then for the women's tag, I just put Women's Grand Prix Tag Team Championships. So yeah. All right. Now we move on to announcers. This one is one of this is one of the ones I was looking forward to the most because there's so many options and stuff you can mix and match and do. So, so Jeremy, for your announcers, 2 or 3 announcers. For you could do either or. What announcers did you have for for Unhinged? Who will they be?
For Unhinged, and these will only be the main desk on our Tuesday night show. We'll figure out something else for the other 2 shows. YouTube may not even have announcers, or may have somebody to set up the match. It may just have a ring announcer. I don't know. But as far as the booth, at first I had, in my opinion, the greatest duo. In my opinion, because everybody loves another duo. This is my favorite duo of all time. Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
Mm.
I thought they were great together. And then as we were sitting here and you were getting ready, I was like, Mauro Ranallo popped in my head. I'm like, imagine those three on commentary. You have Mauro, who is more of the kind of the play-by-play guy, and you have Gorilla and Heenan just kind of bantering back and forth. And then I just thought those three would make a great announce trio. I'm more of a two-man guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather stick with a two-man guy, but I don't think with those three that it would cause as many frustrations for me in a three-man booth. I just think they would have gone well together. So that's me. What about you?
Okay, so I am mixing together my two favorite duos. I'm mixing the heel the heel color commentator with the babyface play-by-play guy. So I'm constantly torn. I cannot decide which my favorite announcing duo is between JR and Jerry the King Lawler or Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura.
Mm.
I can never decide between those two because I love both. And so I mix them together. I'm going to have Jim Ross do play-by-play. So I think he's the greatest announcer in wrestling history. And then Jesse Ventura, Jesse the Body Ventura as the heel color commentator, like, because I just love how he would just like undermine Gorilla, and and I love like even when something cool would happen though, he would actually like be like, "Whoa, did you see that Gorilla?" Like and so I would love, because I loved the banter he had with Gorilla Monsoon. I love the banter JR had with Jerry, and so I think that would be cool to have those two guys, and also me kind of being, this kind of being kind of having a southern flavor to it. I think would also help too, having Jim Ross as the lead guy, and then having kind of bring back a bit of the old school vibe, by having Jesse Ventura, and then also as a optional third person sometimes I'd have Renee Young, because I really like what she does on Raw. So I thought as far as third wheels goes, Renee is a really good one, and I feel like if we wanted a big a third man, so to speak, in the at the broadcast table, I'd pick Renee. I think that'd be a fun group.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I say this not in any ill will, but I did read an article the other day. Changes that would happen once Triple H becomes the head of everything. And one of them was Michael Cole being able to not have Vince in his ear.
Mm.
We saw that. We saw a really good picture of what that would be with the UK tournament a couple years ago, or whenever it was, when he did the announcing. Like that was Michael Cole that we need in WWE. Get Vince out of his ear.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, when you said Renee, I would say the same thing. If nobody was in her ear, she would be phenomenal. But somebody's in her ear, telling her to say stuff. But I just all that to say, I absolutely agree with what you just said. All right, so we move from our announcers to we need to have some kind of on-air authority, whether it be heel or babyface. Caleb, who did you have?
My favorite non-wrestler wrestling personality ever, the Louisville Lip, the Mouth of the South, Jim Cornette. If you're going to have a Southern kind of style promotion, you got to have Jim Cornette involved in some capacity. And I went back and have been watching some Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and I've seen some Ohio Valley Wrestling stuff, and I loved what Jim Cornette did as the on-air authority figure with both of those places. He was babyface, but he was kind of a cheeky, let's give the bad guys a taste of their own medicine, kind of sarcastic kind of babyface. So that's what I would do, because I'm such a huge fan of Jim Cornette, and I think it would be fun to see him kind of be this kind of cheeky babyface on air authority figure. So I think that would be I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I agree with your assessment. That's not who I picked. I picked someone, you can love him, you can hate him. Either which way, you're going to be talking about him. Eric Bischoff.
Mm.
I thought everything he did. I haven't seen any of this stuff. I haven't seen a lot from his WWE run, but his WCW stuff I thought was fantastic. I think he he has that air about him. He can act in that way to either be heel or face. Um, and he's got that look. He's got that look of someone who is in charge. And I enjoy him talking, at least in that capacity. So that's yeah, he was just my favorite authority figure ever. So that's who I have. So we move from on-air authority figure to managers. We have here either we have top babyface and top heel managers. Caleb, who is your top babyface and who is your top heel manager?
All right, this is gonna be a shock. Top babyface manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Nice.
Weird, I know, but I thought he did a good job in his latter WWE years, and then in his WCW run when he was a babyface, I thought he actually did really well. Um, and also because he was so good, it would kind of get to the point where it's like you can't boo the guy because he's so good at what he does and you love him. Like he's Bobby Heenan. So I think that would be very interesting to see, Bobby the Brain Heenan be sort of like this, motivator, this coach, this kind of babyface manager. I think that would be really interesting. And then top heel manager, I think you can't go wrong with current Paul Heyman. Everything he's done with Brock in this past run has been great, and he's one of the best talkers. And so yeah, I think because he's good at because people come out, they say his catchphrase along with him, they dig what he says, and then he could just at the drop of a hat get the crowd to boo him. And you need that, in a top heel manager. And I would kind of have him a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit, kind of revert back to the Paul E. Dangerously, by the kind of Wall Street type guy, so I would have him kind of bring a little bit of that kind of thing back, but mainly just current Paul Heyman, mainly, but kind of revert back to that a little bit. So what about you?
Top babyface is Captain Lou Albano.
Mm.
He has that look and that feel that I think St. Louis would enjoy. He's a bigger guy, heavier set guy. Um, just fun to listen to. Love me some Mario. And my top heel manager is absolutely Paulie Dangerously.
Mm.
I loved his work in WCW. I loved the phone carrying around. I loved the fact, and I loved his Dangerous Alliance, like all of those people in that. And so I love a good heel stable. Yes, Heenan stable, the Heenan family is brilliant, but because of Paulie, he's never changed. I mean, dude's never changed. He is exactly the same person he is in the ring now than he was then. But I liked that style, like you said, that hinge of kind of the corporate, but not so corporate guy. Just thinks he knows everything and whatnot. So I would bring back that Paulie Dangerously.
All right, nice. So now we move on to the main kind of big thing. We're going to be moving into, the wrestlers that we will be featuring. Okay, so now the big one, the biggest one, the main event babyface champion / face of the company. Jeremy, who did you choose and why?
Woo! Not Ric Flair, Sting.
Oh.
Sting is the greatest babyface wrestler of all time, in my opinion. He, that whole move from the ecstatic 90s, 80s, 90s guy to the emo 90s crow Sting, whatever. I just love that. And no matter what he does, he just has that look. He has that. I want to rally everybody around Sting. Sting can rally anybody around him. So that's why I think he's the biggest name for us. Is that people believe him. People look at him and say, I want to follow that guy. And so that's for me, my main event, babyface. What about you?
What? I actually almost chose Sting. I almost chose like the 1997 Crow Sting because that was my favorite. And because Sting is my all-time favorite. But yeah, I chose Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was, he was the biggest star in the history of the business in terms of like every capacity, like box office, merchandising, in ring work, on the mic, everything. He was the biggest star, in the history of the biz, and just going back and watching his stuff, hearing those crowds just go nuts. And that's kind of that's kind of something, that's a once in a lifetime kind of superstar. And I think I kind of thought about it. I was like, the style and presentation of modern WWE mixed with Southern wrestling and mixed with modern New Japan. I was like, I think Stone Cold could be that vanguard who kind of, could kind of, because like, I'm picturing him working with, the great big guys, and then, the smaller, cruiserweight, Japanese guys, and, working at like kind of a more fast-paced, Southern NWA kind of style. So, because Stone Cold is one of those guys who can match up well in all kinds of different styles. And excuse me, burping a lot. And so uh, that's who I would choose because you can't go wrong. But both of our picks, I feel like we're both really solid picks that you can't really go wrong with.
All right, we move from the main babyface of the company to our second and third, or our drawing attraction and a third babyface. Caleb, who do you have for the second and third?
Okay, so number two babyface, phenomenal AJ Styles, current AJ Styles as he is right now. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with everything I said about Stone Cold in terms of matching up with all these different styles is infinitely more applicable to AJ because he can wrestle any style, he can mimic any style, and that's he's the kind of guy who you could build an entire thing around. And so if you have him as your number two guy, then oof, yeah,
Yeah.
and you're still in good hands. And then also number three, I had a hard time. I couldn't choose between two guys, and so I just ended up flipping a coin because I couldn't pick between these two guys. I wanted either Randy Orton or Roman Reigns, so I just flipped a coin and I chose Roman Reigns. That's what the coin toss came up. So yeah, you kind of need the cool, laid back, kind of Goldbergish, kind of guy, and I thought, all right, so that'll work, and so yeah, those are my three top baby faces. So what about you? Who were your second and third?
Second would be Johnny Gargano.
Mm.
I think he does have drawing power.
Mm-hmm.
I think if given the right storyline, he could be the greatest babyface outside of Sting. But also he could be the best heel ever. I've seen some of his heelish work online on the internets. Uh, he does a really good job with that too. So uh, Johnny Gargano is my number two, and number three is Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily to put him in the cruiserweights, but watching that guy is unbelievable. Uh, the things he does, the things he's able to pull off in the ring, are just phenomenal. And so those are my two second, third baby faces, and then AJ would come in there as well, but I don't have a fourth slot, so I can't put AJ on there. Babyface tag team. Caleb, what about you?
I'm gonna go with like vintage, like 2001 Hardy Boys. Hardy Boys is my favorite tag team. I'm always gonna have a special place in my heart for the Hart Foundation, obviously. That's no pun intended, but the Hardy Boys are my favorite, and just them and Lita's their manager, and just everything back then, when they were in their heyday and they still do crazy stuff, but when they could do like even crazier stuff back then, so that's who I would choose, I think. What about you?
I would have some people that I think would be great for having fun, and so I chose the New Day. I know it's hard for me to pick just one, and so for me the New Day, thinking financially, I think the New Day is one that could bring in a lot of money with their merch and with a lot of different things. But they also get the crowd into what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think tag team, especially now, tag team wrestling isn't, at least in WWE, isn't promoted well. And I think if they gave the New Day the opportunity to do that, they would be the ones who could help turn the tide in tag team wrestling. And so for me, thinking financially, thinking fan wise, the New Day is where it's at for the babyface tag team. I never want to turn them heel ever again.
Yeah.
I hated it when I first started watching wrestling again. But the New Day was heel, and I hated them. And they did a good job, but I just hated them. I like them more as a babyface. So that's who I
All right. So yeah, so now we have the top women's babyface, face of the women's division. Jeremy, which women's superstar would you choose and why?
Greatest women's wrestler ever, Candice LeRae. Her indie stuff is just absolutely brilliant. Um, she's just good in the ring. She's over, and she could also be a part of, she could bring the intergender stuff. I know people hate that. I don't know why they hate it. I mean, we're moving away from it's fake. It's all when you watch a movie, you still see guys interacting with women in those kind of ways. This is a TV show. This is not real, and so for me to have that intergender balance in wrestling, Candice LeRae is the number one for that, and she's just a phenomenal wrestler in and of herself. What about you?
I have to go with my bae, Ember Moon. She is so good. She has a great look, great moveset. She's a phenomenal athlete. Um, and she can do some really cool stuff. She has great matches. The crowd loves her, and I think she, because Becky Mania is kind of going on right now. I think it'll be a while before she gets her chance in the sun, but it has to be coming soon. I feel like she's too good to not, and um, and so yeah, she would be, my main eventing women champion. Like she would be, top of the top and stuff like that. And yeah, I think she deserves more. And I know she was hurt for a while and stuff like that. But like, she over the past year, she was just wasted on Raw. And I feel like SmackDown is the better place for her to be.
Agreed.
And so, I mean, you just think we could get her and Charlotte, her and Kairi Sane, probably. So yeah, like all kinds of stuff. Her and Becky, too. And so, so yeah, I love Ember Moon. She's awesome. I almost chose Trish Stratus, but then I was like, oh, Ember Moon. Why? It's got to be Ember Moon. But yeah, man, Ember Moon, totally.
Awesome.
So now we go to the babyface women's tag team. Jeremy, who did you choose and why?
Because they are some of the greatest women's wrestlers right now that at least we've ever seen in the WWE, and I think they should have brought. I think they should have put these three together: Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Asuka. All three of them as a tag team. They would be dominant. I think that's what they should have done in WWE, and so that's who I'd have. I think they would be great baby faces. Eventually turn them heel, but for now, start out. That would be my babyface women tag team. What about you?
I had Asuka and Kairi Sane. Yeah, I love both these gals. They're awesome at what they do. They both, bright, colorful outfits. The crowd loves them. They have great gimmicks. And they're in the ring. They're both phenomenal. And so, I was kind of thinking about like, what tag team. I was trying to think and stuff like that. And I thought that one, like that would just, yeah, because I like what they've been doing with them thus far. So yeah. Kairi Sane and Asuka. What else can you say, man?
Yep. All right. A couple more things we have here. Several more. We have the heel side of things. Let's do the first three we have on this. Let's see, main event heel or face or heel of the company, smarmy heel, and unstoppable heel monster heel. Caleb, who do you have for those?
Okay, so for my main event heel, I was trying to think current Chris Jericho, indie scene Chris Jericho, since he started facing Kenny Omega last year at Wrestle Kingdom and everything he's done since. I love this kind of crazier Chris Jericho currently now. That's who I would have, because it's like it's kind of still the same Chris Jericho, but he's kind of adding a bit of kind of Bruiser Brody type stuff to him. A little bit of the Ric Flair thing, because he's kind of big dogging everybody, and he's like, oh, I'm a big rock star kind of thing. So it's so yeah, that's who I would choose, man. Main event heel like Chris Jericho, like totally. And then as the smarmy heel, the sneaky conniving heel, I would have very obscure. I don't think anybody probably thought this, that somebody would choose this. The Sheik, Ed Farhat, the original Sheik, not the Iron Sheik. This guy was a big star in the territory days. He came in to face Bruno the WWF Championship, and he like faced Luthez and stuff like that. So he's faced a lot of the and he was like an old school heat magnet, and stuff like that. And so like I would choose that. Very obscure pick, I know, but like totally. And then Unstoppable Monster Heel, vintage 1993 Vader. Cannot go wrong with Vader, probably the greatest big man in history. I mean, they don't, I mean, how can you find a guy who's 6'5", 450 pounds that can move like that and do crazy moonsaults and whatnot? Like unstoppable monster heel, like yeah, vintage 1993 Vader, man, totally. So, what about you? Who are your heels three?
All right. Well, I have a duo, not a duo, but a double for the first one. You can't go wrong with Ric Flair. I think his heel work is the best. He is a constant draw, no matter where and when he worked. He drew a lot. But I don't know if I would pair them two together. It would be kind of interesting. But Ric Flair and Tommaso
Mm.
Ciampa. I think Tommaso did a great job as a heel when he was when his run in NXT. I thought he made everybody hate him. Of course, he had the right babyface in the right turn, in the right everything for him to be hated. But I liked that persona. I loved him loving his title so much, giving it a name and all that stuff. So I would put them as the main event heels. As far as the smarmy heel, WCW Chris Jericho. The list,
The hair up, like the
the hair,
cockatoo and
yep,
everything.
every bit of it. The rock star faux, just every bit of that. I still believe that's the best Chris Jericho, but he swung back that way. The list of Jericho kind of giving that the attitude and stuff, and what he's doing now. I look forward to that evolving even more. And so, but the smarmy heel Chris Jericho WCW, he just is that. Unstoppable Monster heel. I don't know why I didn't think of Vader. I would have put him, but instead I put Lars Sullivan, and I say that because you could put him in any era, and he would look the part in any era.
Right,
we finally have that rough wrestler looking guy that he could have been back in the 50s, back in the 40s, that kind of look. And so, and I think given the chance, he could be that same personality in WWE if he's given the chance.
All right, so now we go to the heel tag team. Jeremy, who would be your top heel tag team for Unhinged Championship Wrestling?
I'm not the biggest fans of them right now, but I think with this added twist, they could be the greatest heel tag team of all time. And I don't know why they wouldn't have done this earlier. Um, I do know why they can't do it now. But the revival with Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson as that not necessarily as a manager, but as that go-to. They always go to him saying, "Hey, Arn, we're doing this, whatever, blah 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 blah." I just think they could be the greatest heel tag team of all time if if they would have put Arn with them. I thought that would have been great, but yeah, I think that would have been fun. That's me. What about you?
I had the Usos. Just because the Usos are my favorite tag team right now, and I think they're probably easily one of the best tag teams right now. And when they first turned heel back in 2016, that's who I would want. Like when they first came out with like the new hip hop theme, and they were dressed up like these South Side San Diego like kind of street punks. Like I really I dig that they still have the look, but it's kind of uh, it's not as hard edged and not as like mean and stuff like that. So like when they first turned heel, and kind of had that persona, because they've definitely swung back to baby faces now. Like when they first turned heel, like that's who I'd go for, definitely.
Cool. Rounding off our list of wrestling promotion stuff, we have the top heel of the women's division and the top heel tag team in the women's division. Who do you have and why?
Okay, so for the top heel in the women's division, Charlotte. I mean, she can turn the crowd on her in an instant. She's great at that. But I would want her to act crazier. I would want her to act just like so driven and determined that she would just go to any lengths and just like unplug her mind and go crazy to try to get the title. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think she would be a great foil for Ember Moon, in this promotion and stuff like that. And um, kind of play up the whole queen mentality that she has, but kind of add a bit of kind of a prima donna craziness to it. I think would be awesome. And then for the heel women's tag team, I actually created a tag team because I thought Sasha Banks is a way better heel than she is a babyface. And then I thought, okay, well, what do you do? And I said, oh, add Nikki Cross.
Hmm.
Just do something totally crazy. Just have it be nuts. Like it's the smart conniving one, and then it's the unhinged crazy person, and So I thought, that would kind of be fun to see.
That would be interesting.
What about you?
Top heel, I have two, and they're, I think, looking back, I think as time progresses, that they will be very, very similar. I'm a huge fan of Medusa. You go back and
Mm.
watch Medusa, it still holds up. It might be a little wonky at times, but at least her stuff at the end of her WWF run was really good when they had Bull Nakano and a couple other ladies in there with her. I just think she's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Obviously, there are more coming up now that will surpass her. But I think also Rhea Ripley has impressed me a ton. Her look, her attitude, her moveset is pretty nice, um, and she's got that look that just is that heel. It is that anti disestablishmentarian type look, and I think even if we were to pair those two together, I think that would be an interesting pair, and not necessarily as a tag team, but anyway, that's what I think. As far as heel tag team, I too think Sasha is a way better heel, but I want to see Bayley heel as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a Sasha and Bayley heel tag team. I think that would be great. So those are my picks.
Right on. So yeah, just looking at the list we have of the people, like like especially yours, like just the different mixes and matches and stuff you can have with matches, like have AJ Styles pair up, with the Hardy Boys to face, Vader and the Usos, like it's like, I mean, yeah, like that's part of the whole fun of it is was choosing the wrestlers to imagine all the different combinations and stuff like that, like because like Stone Cold versus Vader, like that's one I want. Roman Reigns versus Vader, that's one I really want.
Yeah.
I think Roman Reigns versus Lars is probably the closest we'll get to,
Probably.
to that for we'd get to see that because when you
Or
said
Roman and Samoa Joe might be pretty close too.
yeah, yeah, because like when you said Lars Sullivan, I was like, yeah, he is that kind of Vader type guy, and you're absolutely right about like he could fit into any era. Like he's yeah, that's a good quality to have. And so yeah, anything like to add? Anything like to?
No, I enjoyed doing this list. It's it gets my creative juices flowing, like you said. Being able to look at these and say, oh man, I can't wait to see these matches. Or it'd be nice to go back in time to see how Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon would interact with the wrestlers of this day, and how they would even react with Mauro Ranallo being so crazy at times on the desk. Yeah, I just I enjoyed it. I enjoyed thinking about through this and about it. So
Okay, so just fun, spontaneous, spur of the moment kind of thing. Um, your first big show, big pay per view and stuff like that.
okay,
Three matches, just kind of book three matches just real quick.
first pay per view.
if you could kind of think of big ones.
Well, I would obviously have the women's title on the line. If this is the inaugural main event or not main event inaugural pay per view of UC Dub, I would obviously do the women's tag team. I would do Sasha and Bayley versus Kairi Sane and Asuka with Io Shirai at the in the corner. I think that would be a great women's title match. I would want to see Tommaso Ciampa versus Sting. Not necessarily for the main title. I think anyway, Sting versus Tommaso Ciampa. I would love to see Lars versus Ricochet. I think that David versus Goliath thing would be really cool. Candice LeRae and tagging up with Johnny Gargano and Chris Jericho and Rhea Ripley, because Chris has got that right now. At least his now persona has that kind of look that Rhea Ripley would have, and so kind of that'd be that. And then obviously the New Day versus the Revival, and Arn Anderson as a stipulation. He'd have to be in there too. So I think that would be a great 3-man tag match. Let's see, I got everybody on the card. Sting, yeah. Ricochet, yeah. Gargano, yeah. New Day, Candice LeRae. Looks like I got everybody. Pretty much everybody except for Medusa. I would have Medusa in the corner of Rhea Ripley. So that's what I would do. What about you?
So yeah, I would have just it'd be a fun match to see. I would love to see how it would play out. It would be AJ Styles versus the Sheik. That'd be interesting. I'd love to see how that would work. And then obviously Ember Moon and Charlotte. I can't wait to see that. I want that. And then yeah, main event for the championship. The unstoppable, monster Vader coming up against, the challenger Stone Cold Steve Austin, who will prevail in the end and win the championship. Because thinking about about matches that never were, like that's one at the top of my list for like a big time WrestleMania type match, like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vader. So yeah, those would be like the 3 big ones that I would probably want to see most. So that'd be fun.
Very, very good.
All right. Well, that was a good bit of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Agreed.
That was awesome. So yeah, like we'll have to do like a joke one sometime, like just like create goofy wrestlers and stuff, like. Because on Cornette's podcast one time, a guy did that where he called in and said like I created a joke federation and stuff like that, and like the champion was this guy called Russo Mansfield, and he was the owner and booker, and he was also the champion, and he like. Every time he would, beat somebody, who was a bigger star than he would just remind the fans not to get upset because it's all fake anyway, and stuff. It's a pretty funny segment and stuff like that. So yeah, well yeah, that was a good bit of fun. Quite enjoyed that.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun to do that kind of, book our own territory kind of thing, and that was pretty cool to think about all these different things that could have been whatnot. That was awesome. So. Well, yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. Don't know when we'll get together again for another show. Maybe in a month or so, there's the next big show in Saudi Arabia. Maybe we could get together and talk about that one or something like that, because a lot of big returns happening in that, Undertaker, Brock, and Goldberg, which I'm pretty excited to see what happens with that. So, yeah, I'm really excited for that. Given the controversy with where it's at.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, anything else to say to the listeners before we head out?
Nope.
All right. Well, that was the special edition of WWPWW, booking the territory, so to speak. So, thanks for coming by. This is Caleb.
This is Jeremy.
Signing off.
Peace.